Okay, so during our lecture video itu, we already cover this part lah. Risk and sorry, salah salah. Risk management. Okay, so this one. I will just recap on this topic. Kita akan ulang. Just bila Madam terangkan balik ni kan, recap ni just throughout ni saja. Kalau ada soalan, please turn on your mic and then tanya. Okay? Please make sure you understand this topic well, okay? Because this will be your assignment one. Okay, so we'll go to the risk of the risk management. We already discussed this one. It is actually identifying, measuring, controlling risk that can threaten assets and earning of oneself. So anything that can hinder someone or an organization to reach their goal, define it as a risk. And what is risk management? It is ability to control that risk and to manage. How you can manage? Ada dua cara tu kan, risk control and risk financing. So evaluation ni tak payah ni rasa faham. So objective of risk management, there are actually two, pre-loss and also post-loss. For pre-loss, it is when the risk management plan is actually before the loss happened. While post-loss, it is when loss already happened, already occurred. Okay, so like example of pre-loss, kita pasang water sprinkler kan. Kita pakai safety helmet, safety gear untuk buat kerja because we want to reduce impact of loss, we want to reduce fear and worry, and it is sometimes required by law. Okay, for after the loss, let's say after you take measurement to prevent loss from happen, kan, pre loss tadi tu kau dah pasang water sprinkler kan, but still loss happen juga. So what happen? You need to maintain the survival of organization. How? You must know how to curb the problem. Maknanya siapa nak bayar ke ataupun let's say korang ada insurance kan. So itu cara untuk post loss. Okay. And then the 5 is management process. The first one, identifying existing and potential risks, evaluating potential risks, examining alternative risk management technique, selecting and implementing risk management program, and the last one, evaluating, reviewing, and controlling the program. So identifying ni is when you identify the risk at your area. Kan? Let's say you work in a company, so you find the risk at your company. Kalau contoh yang for your assignment, it is the risk where you are staying kat rumah korang kan. So kau carilah risk yang mana yang dah ada existing and also potential yang mungkin boleh ada. Okay, so how can you identify risk? You can use this risk management technique, risk management tools technique, orientation, risk analysis questionnaire, exposure checklist semua ni. After you already identify, you must evaluate. Evaluate how? You must make sure you know the severity and also the frequency of the risk. Lalu jadi ke tak, teruk ke tak jadi. Okay, and then the third step, after you already learn on the frequency and severity of the risk, now is the way for you to control. How can you control? By using these two techniques, risk control and risk financing. So for risk control, there are 4. Risk avoidance. So what is risk avoidance? It is where you abandon the risk, meaning that you don't take risk at all. Contoh tak nak langsung tinggalkan risk tu. Contoh tak nak accident, tak pernah naik kereta langsung. Contoh, okay? And then loss control. This is where you alter the frequency and the severity of the risk. Okay, contoh for loss prevention, it want to reduce the frequency, while loss reduction may reduce severity. Okay. Then separation, where you separate the asset of the company in few phases so that if loss happen at one place, it will not destroy all. Okay, and then the last one, contractual transfer. There are 4 types of contractual transfer: incorporation, leasing contract, hedging, and hold harmless agreement. So this is when you transfer the risk of that you have to another party through contract. Okay, not through insurance, through contract rumah ke, contract jual beli ke. Okay, so ini bukan guna insurance. Okay, so the second part is financing. This is when the loss happens. How can you pay for the loss? So korang boleh pilih antara retention, assumption, insurance, captive insurance and insurance. Before retention it is where you pay yourself 100% for the loss. Contoh hilang pen dalam office. So you will just pay for the loss. Okay, and then self-insurance, it is when you open up a fund, buka tabung, contoh duit RM100, we pay for the lost pen tadi tu. Jadi korang ada tabung. While captive insurance, it is when you have tabung juga, but you register the company as insurance company. Maknanya lebih serius lah, okay? And then the last one, insurance. This is when you transfer your risk to insurance company. Dan tadi contractual transfer through contract, sewa beli, contract sewa rumah, okay? And then after you already learn on the technique that you want to use, now you need to select and implement the risk management program. So from the risk that you already identify and you already look at the severity and frequency, you just take the risk that yang korang dah list out tu and put in this table, okay? So the last one, you must evaluate, review and control. After you already implement the program, you need to evaluate, review and control. Why? Because sometimes throughout times the risk changes. Okay, contoh in 1990, we don't have a risk of cyber security. Now kita dah banyak risk pasal cyber security lah because we already use IT meluas. Okay, so kalau kita still dekat takut lama, it will not be relevant for the new risk. Okay. So itu sahajalah untuk topik korang yang part 1 tu. If you have any question, please ask now. Sebab kita nak proceed dengan part 2 korang hari ni. Apa soalan tak? Aku 9 orang, tak ada seorang pun soalan. Hebat lah korang.
Buat masa ni tak ada.
Buat masa ni sekejap lagi. Habis kelas, ting. Madam nak tanya kan. Okay. So, it's okay. Kalau tak soalan sekarang. Kalau ada soalan in the future, please ask. Tapi janganlah malam nak exam tu buat tanya kan. Itu memang betul lah. Okay, so we will proceed with your part 2. So today we will learn on your topic 2, part 2, risk assessment. Okay, I already asked you to answer the tutorial question dekat future kan. So let's take a look at your answer. By the way, attendance I dah close. So there's no more taking attendance daripada apa yang kita dah sejak hari ni baru. Oh lupa nak jawab. Hari ni ingat madam ambil attendance no tak ada dah. Okay, untuk 1115C, let's take a look. So my question was to soalan sini lupa. Kita tengok ni lah 1115B dulu. Okay. Lambatlah. So the question was, I want you to identify your risk in 2022 kan? Based on the 4 risk exposure ke tak? So let's take a look. Kita ingat pula. Okay. Kita tengok dekat ni dulu lah. 1115B. Zakwan. Kita nak lambat sikit lah. Lambat sangat ni. Apalah tak ikut kita ada loading ni seorang. Okay. Kita jadi lah. Okay, topic 2, part 2, risk assessment. So after you already learn how to manage the risk from part 1, kan, the 5 process tadi tu, now we will learn how to assess the risk. So at the end of this chapter, you must be able to describe the range of risk identification techniques that are available to industry Explain the advantages and disadvantages of each of the risk identification techniques. Outline the human assessment of risk, sources of risk, and the concept of actual and perceived risk. And the last one, discuss the risk data and sources of risk data. So, you all already get your book kan, dah ambil buku itu. This topic is actually your chapter 3. Dalam textbook korang, risk assessment is under chapter 3. Why? Sebab buku ni dah outdated. Jadi macam ini masa zaman medieval pun guna buku ni juga. So memang dia dah outdated, buku ni susunan tu dah berapa betul lah kan. So you can take a look at chapter 3 untuk apa yang kita akan belajar hari ni. Okay. Part 1 will cover risk assessment, actual versus perceived, sources of risk, risk exposure, and the last one, human risk assessment. And part 2, we will cover risk management, measurement, risk identification techniques, and the risk data. Actually, for today's lecture, we will not cover risk measurement because it is actually what I already mentioned in your previous class. Pasal techniques to be used tu kan, techniques tool, orientation, flowchart, questionnaires, exposure, checklist tu semua tu kan. Yang tu semua under risk identification technique. So I will not cover that again lah sebab dah cover itu kan. Okay, for your risk measurement, you can take a look at page 40. So buka page 40. So you can look there, ada table tu kan, table kat diagram tu, risk identification techniques tu, ada physical inspection, checklist apa semua tu. So for this part, you need to read. Okay, I already discussed, but you still need to read on the advantages and disadvantages. Okay, takut kena exam. Okay, itu baca briefly je lah. Kalau korang tengok dekat page 46 kan, under flow chart, you can see that step 1, understanding the flow. Step 2, representing the flow. So korang tak payahlah, korang just faham the definition, advantages and disadvantages saja. Okay, korang tak payah apalah benda-benda ni tak masuk exam pun. Okay, and then HAZOP semua tu kan, page 51 tu, korang tak payah. Kat belakang-belakang lagi, under risk measurement tu, korang boleh tengok ada databases lah, ada table tu kan, table, simple table lah, relative figures, frequency severity table, atau ada mean mode lah, apa benda variance semua tu tak payah. Probability distribution semua tu tak payah. Okay, korang baca sampai yang ni je, flowchart punya definition sahaja. Okay. Kita baca sendirilah sebab tu macam dah cover kan hari tu. Okay. So we will go to the first one, actual and perceived risk. So there are actually 4 things that you need to know under actual versus perceived risk. And then the sources of risk ada 7, risk exposure ada 4, and the last one, human assessment pun 4. Okay, actual and perceived risk. So what does it mean by actual risk and what is perceived risk? Actual risk is the risk that actually happen, yang berlaku betul-betul sebenarnya. While perceived risk is something that you view the risk to be what? Okay, contoh macam for you, the risk of smoking is not high. But for me, risk of smoking is high. It is based on your perception, your view on the risk. So what makes it different between you and me when we perceive risk? Okay, the first one, based on familiarity level. This is where the risk awareness of uncertain event. For example, awareness on COVID-19. Okay, when we talk about familiarity, you can understand the word familiar means that you are usually known to that thing. Okay, macam contoh, nampak, muka ni familiar lah, macam pernah nampak. Because you already know about that thing kan, macam tak kisahlah apa-apa. So, familiar tu maknanya kita dah biasa. So, it is also the same with risk. When you know about the risk yang macam korang dah biasa hadap kan, let's say you want to go to class, tak nak lah tambah sikit. Let's say Intan Khairina dengan Ahmad Mustaqim tu. Mustaqim tu. Okay, Mustaqim dengan Intan. Okay, Mustaqim mak rempit. Mustaqim jangan rempit ni contoh dia tak tutup. Okay, contoh Mustaqim mak rempit. And then Intan taklah kan. So for Mustaqim, riding motorcycle laju tu, the risk is very low. Bagi dia tak ada apa. But for Intan macam, janganlah nanti kang mati. Okay. So when jadi macam Intan, dia dah overstate the risk. Meaning that the risk tu sebenarnya sampai sini je, level tak ada teruk sangat. But Intan rasa, kalau naik motor je kau akan mati. Dia dah macam overstate the risk. Okay, while Mustaqim pula dia dah understate the risk. Padahal bahaya lagi, tapi bagi dia dah biasa. Because he is familiar with it. So it is also the same with us during COVID kan. So in 2019, time tu COVID is still overseas je, tak sampai Malaysia lagi. So what happened, we think that the COVID ni memang teruk gila ni, memang teruk pun time tu. But over time, we get familiar with COVID kan. I think most of you, tak pun macam every one of you mesti pernah kena tu. Kalau tak pernah kena tu kan memang sesuatu lah kan. But for my memang dah kedua kali. So the second time kena tu macam tak ada apa because I am familiar with that risk. Okay. And then for the second one, control. Your level of perception on the risk is based on your control, where the level of control the individual has to prevent or mitigate the risk. Meaning that if you have control over the risk, you will think the risk that is not that bad. Okay, contoh macam driving a car kan, when you are in control, you drive your own car, you know that okay, if I drive fast, then the risk is high. But if I drive slow, the risk is low because you have the ability to control. While for some people, they are afraid to get on flight dan tak nak naik kapal terbang because they are afraid the flight will crash kan sebab dia tak in control, bukan dia yang bawa. Okay, so that is what it means by control. Okay, itulah excited aja. Okay, the next one, it is also based on personal or societal effect. So how you perceive the risk also sometimes based on your personal and societal effects. This is where the public's perception of the risk, your personal attitude in correspondence to a certain risk. Okay, so all of us kan, we are familiar with COVID. But previously in 2019, everyone takut kan. Everyone, even keluar dari rumah tak ada orang pun pakai mask. Dan sekarang macam dah tak kisah sangat. So it is because the society view it that way, so you view it that way juga. Okay? For example, HIV. For HIV people, tak adalah korang boleh terjangkit pun kalau korang pegang dia. But due to the society view on people with HIV tu macam teruk sangat. So you have the same perception towards that risk juga. Okay? So the last one, frequency and severity. Okay, this is how you perceive the risk based on frequency and severity. Some people, they focus more on frequency, while some people, they focus more on the severity. Meaning that, let's say kita ambil tadi Mustaqim kan, he focus on severity. For him, if you accident every day is okay, the frequency yang banyak ada hari terjadi accident is okay, but janganlah sampai patah kaki. He focus on severity. Okay, but for Intan tadi, dia fokus on the frequency and severity dulu. Dia tak nak langsung kan, tak nak langsung accident, tak nak langsung luka. So, dia duduk je dalam bilik dia seorang. Okay, so example. Okay. Next, we will go to the sources of risk. So there are 7 sources of risk where you can find risk from physical environment, social, political, legal, operational, economic, and connective. Okay, let's go to the first one, physical environment. This is where you can get the source of risk from your surrounding, your environment. Okay, like earthquake, tsunami, it comprises all the different factors of nature. So you can get risk from the land, from the sea, from the air, from the tree, kan? From the land, earthquake, from the sea, tsunami, from the tree, landslide, contoh kan jatuh earthquake sebab landslide. From the air, you can get haze, kan, jerebu. So all of these are risks that came from physical environment. The second one, social environment. This is where the risks arise from the social environment. Where you live, the condition of your working place, your income, how can income impact on social environment? So if the person is a rich one, they will not face a risk such as health problems that is too bad kan. While some people yang poor, with low income, they have this ability to get sick easily because dia tak ada ubat, tak mampu nak beli ubat. Okay, so all of that give rise to a risk based on like education kan. Sometimes people who works in an office and also works in side project, the risks are different. So it is based on your social environment. And then the third one, risk can arise from political environment, where national and international political factors and methods of thinking and belief. When the political situation of the country changes, automatically it will give rise to new risks. Okay, contoh these two before ni tak ada, but after change change party kan, change the government, and then ada pula risk baru. Contoh macam kita next month ni, we will be voting kan. So kita akan mengundi. Bila kita mengundi, we change our prime minister. When we change our prime minister, for sure, they have different thinking and also belief. For previous prime minister, for example, previous prime minister bagi dia tak apa, import export dadah tak ada masalah. Sekarang tak boleh, yang akan datang tak boleh. So the belief and thinking tu yang membuatkan there are new risk. Siapa nak masuk ni? Muhammad Zafwan, kenapa masuk lambat? Sedang tidur. Okay, next one, legal environment. So you can get new risk from legal environment, your standard conduct and punishment enforced. Okay, so when we talk about legal, it is based on the law enforcement. Kan, apa yang kerajaan suruh ni lah, the law lah kan, undang-undang kita tu, kuasa undang-undang. So let's say you drive a car without wearing seatbelt. So automatically you will get summon. Summon lah kan, you get summon. So this is actually because of legal environment. Okay. The next one, operational environment. This is where the risk came from the circumstances surrounding of the process of production. Okay, when we talk about operational, you know it relates with processes, it relates with production line. So what happened? It can give rise to new risk because of electronic and mechanical processes. So from electronic, you can get new risk. For example, the machinery broke down kan, rosak mesin. So what happened? Adalah risk loss of income. You cannot produce your product. So itu risk daripada operational lah. Okay, and then based on mechanical process, let's say korang kerja kilang kayu, buat rabut. So potong-potong kayu, that is the process, mechanical process lah, memotong menggunakan gergaji kan. So gergaji lagi buat-buat, potong tangan sendiri. So itu risk daripada mechanical process. Okay, next one, economic environment. This is where the system, policies and nature of an economy, dynamic and complex in nature. So when we talk about economic environment, it relates with the business. Okay, it usually affect businesses lah, economy ni kan. Okay, let's say inflation next year. So what happen to businesses? Businesses start dah kena follow lah. Okay, the raw material naik harga, the tax increase kan, the interest rate increase. So all of that will affect the businesses that are actually facing so many other risks. Okay, so contoh macam tax. Previously, let's say tax kat Malaysia nak untuk orang luar nak datang invest kan, mungkin rendah. Sebab akan datang, if tinggi, it will give effect to all the businesses lah kan. Macam tak ada orang nak invest kat Malaysia, so tak membangun lah negara tu. And then the last one, connective environment. So connective environment is actually based on the perception of the risk manager. So we already learned the 5 steps tu kan, identifying lah, evaluating apa semua tu. That is actually the job of the risk manager. If the risk manager feels that the risk is not too high, sometimes it is high for other people. So because of his ability to manage the risk, dia manage benda tu, sometimes it gives rise to new risk. Contoh, risk manager rasa tak penting pakai spek apa tu untuk buat kerja kayu potong kan. So dia rasa tak payah pakai, tak apa, tak penting. So semua tak pakai yang kami. Suddenly the injury rate, mata nampak kabur, mata dah pedih, dah tak boleh datang kerja kan, because all of that datang daripada risk manager punya risk manager punya ability untuk faham benda tu salah lah. Maknanya sebabkan dia punya keputusan tu buatkan ada risk baru. Okay, that's all for your sources of risk. Okay, now let's proceed to the categories of risk exposure. So there are 4 categories of risk exposure. This one yang I ask you to answer during your tutorial hari tu. Okay, so let's take a look kejap korang jawapan. Okay, in August 2022, I just pick randomly. In August 2022, my personal experience was that I had almost got second degree burnitis tau, dah pasti. While cleaning the oven during closing period at the cafe I worked at Richard Coffee. Okay, as it was my first time cleaning the bar area, after that point I had only cleaned the kitchen. I was careless and assumed I could clean the oven straight away. What I should have done is to switch the oven to cooling mode, as the oven will automatically cool itself with cold air. To my luck, a fellow work colleague who also was in charge of cleaning the bar area saw this and stopped me before I could reach my hand to clean the interior of the oven, preventing myself from getting harmed. Okay, this is the risk he faced. But what type of category? It is human asset exposure. Okay, from my question, I actually asked you to discuss based on the 4. Meaning that I want you to include all 4, bukan human asset je. Yang tadi physical asset liability semua tu kena buat juga. Okay, so ni, this is a very good example untuk 1 point lah. Cuma kita tinggal lagi 3 point. Okay. Tengok lain pula. Let's take a look at this class 1115C. Random je lah. Car accident caused by a dark roadway. Physical asset. The physical asset exposure to the car lah kan. Okay, betul. But still, most of you answered the question very without thinking further lah. Tadi kawan tadi tu dia explain panjang, that's a good example. But still, the point is not enough. Korang cuma ambil 1 point je. Actually, you have to put all. Okay. Okay. Had to stay in the ward due to very severe gastritis. Human asset exposure. Okay, yes. Human asset, but still we talk about human asset is actually the asset of the company kan. So let's say if you are working in a company, then yes, this is a human asset exposure lah, because you cannot work kan. House was broken by robbery and lost laptop and handphone. Yes, physical asset exposure to the laptop and handphone. Human asset. Ceiling fan stop, banyak bagi 1 je ni, semua bagi 1. Being scam, ni ada lain sikit. Financial asset, yes. By Tricia ni, being scam, but still it is very vague lah, maknanya too general. Being scam, apa kan scam, what kind of scam? So when you talk about financial exposure, loss of money in saving account. Inflation. Inflation, yes, due to the currency kan. So inflation inflation cause the currency to loss value and money exposed to financial asset exposure. Macam tu lah ayat transaksi. Okay, itulah. So far okay. I can see that you read the slide. Atas ni sekali dari satu lah. On 16 July, the area in my house is experiencing a heavy rain and my house was okay banjir. All important items such as furniture, wardrobes, I had to attend wet. Confusing. But still, what type of thing? Tadi kawan tadi dia bagi tahu kan, human asset exposure. So for Nurhanisa ni, we should put what kind of exposure ni. Okay. Tapi dah jawab macam tu je, dan which one? Even though I know mana satu, but still anggap macam dia ni tak tahu apa-apa. Okay. So I explain, please make sure korang anggap macam I don't know anything. Okay, so okay lah. I think most of you okay lah faham apa yang korang baca. So I will just explain juga. Okay, so the first category of risk exposure is physical asset exposure. This is where the ownership of property gives rise to possible gains or losses to physical assets and to intangible assets. So property may be damaged, destroyed, lost or may diminish in value. So what is intangible asset? Siapa boleh bagi tahu? Madam, what is the example of intangible asset? Right? Madam, orang yang rela hati menjawab ni, Madam akan murah hati sikit kalau bagi markah. Senyap. Tu kalau Madam pilih tu taklah Madam pilih tu memang konspirasi jawab kan. Macam siapa tak macam rasa nak belagak kat orang lain. Tak ada kan. Okay, let's continue. 48 tak ada seorang pun.
Madam,
Ya saya.
intangible asset tu macam company ni punya trademark. Contohnya macam TM tu yang bentuk TM tu.
TM tu kan? Trademark. So meaning dia registered trademark lah. Okay. Siapa tadi Sofia Sofia Balkis.
Ya, saya.
Okay, thank you Sofia. So trademark is an example of intangible asset. Okay. It is actually intellectual property. Trademark, copyright, patents, kan? All of that is actually under physical asset of the company. So when percaya lah sikit. Okay, and then second one, financial asset exposure. So this is where the ownership of a security such as common stocks, bonds and mortgages has the risk to expose to loss or gain to financial asset. Okay, so common stock, bonds, your money in the bank kan, like your friend tadi ada bagi example being scam, so the money in the saving account to financial asset exposure. Okay. For your both of your class, I think it's okay. Previous class I had, tak ingatlah kelas satu kan, most of them answered for financial asset exposure tu macam dia beli barang harga RM500. Masa akan datang barang tu harga jadi RM400. Contoh macam beli kereta ke beli apa kan, which is wrong. Itu bukan financial asset exposure. Financial asset tu mesti dalam bentuk bonds, stocks, not in the even not you use the money to buy something and that something to your exposure. No, it is the money itself. Okay. So the next one, liability exposure. Okay, so we all are actually exposed to the liability risk. How? Based on obligation imposed by the legal system. So sama macam tadi, if let's say you don't wear seatbelt, kan, then you have to pay for your summon lah. Okay, while Others may be contoh, we have civil and criminal law impose an obligation to citizen. Tak boleh bunuh orang kan. Let's say the nearest example I can give, budak yang 17 tahun tu kan, terbunuh adik itu. So that is one of the example. Let's say you play with your friends kan, tiba macam buat kerja gila main pisau pula terkena. And then you are exposed to the liability of a risk. Okay. The last one, human asset exposure. So this is where the human asset in the company, what we call as employee. Employee is the asset of the company. So what happens if the employee is injury or maybe death? So it will cause loss of key employees. Key and kunci kan, orang kunci, orang yang utama. So when we lost these people, it will give new risk to the company. Siapa nak manage, how mungkin dia seorang je yang tahu kan. Okay. And the last one, under your topic 2, part 2, human assessment of risk. There are 4 human assessment of risk. First, personal, where we ourselves face it every day. In choosing career, in choosing what to eat, the study that you want to, the course that you want to take, to choose your spouse, to choose your apa je kan, everyday life tu kita panggil as personal. And then medical, this is faced by medical practitioner, doctor, nurses, everyone that works in the medical field, they will have this human assessment of a risk. Whether decision, contoh, whether decision to operate or not. This is one is for doctor kan. So dia nak operate ke tak? To prescribe one drugs as opposed to another, ni pun doktor. Doktor akan tulis, and then pharmacist pun sama juga. Pharmacist pun are facing this risk juga. Okay, mungkin salah bagi ubat tu kan. Okay. And then the third one, political changes in politics. So this is faced by the member of the parliament, ahli-ahli parlimen yang dekat sidang parlimen pagi-pagi tu kan. So diorang ni lah yang alami political changes in politics ni punya risk. Okay. And then the last one, business, investment. So for a businessman or a businesswoman, you have this human assessment of risk, whether you want to, let's say lah, I want to open up a business kan. So I can choose whether I want to open up my new company, or maybe I just invest at the existing company of others, but I have part of the share kan. Contoh beli 50% saham ke kan. So this one is for business. Itu sahaja for your part 2. I don't think part 2 ni sebab susah sangat, sebab dia based on your common knowledge sebenarnya. Dan dia macam berulang kan. Kalau pasal dia macam tadi kan dia cakap lagi baik. Dia macam tu, dia memang sebab tu ada buku teks kan, nama dia buku sekolah ulang sama. Contoh macam political legal ni kan. Ni pun ada juga dekat sini. Ni ada juga liability. And then bawah ni ada juga political. So tak apa. If your explanation is similar lah. Maknanya contohlah soalan tu ada 2 kan. Soalan semua wajib jawab. Soalan 1 tu pasal categories of risk exposure. Soalan 2 tu pasal human assessment. So korang punya jawapan tu macam lebih kurang je kan. Tak apa. As long as the point tu betul. Okay. Jangan tak ada point pula. Okay. Itu sahajalah. So that's the end of our part 2. Okay. Now I want you guys to copy this link. Let's play some game. By the way, korang jangan lupa ni take your attendance at your teacher, and then don't forget to answer your entrance survey. Take this code. Masuk je semua. So there's 49 people ini, so 48. Should be there's 48 people participate. If not, I know that you guys are not actually there. You just open the meet and then you go elsewhere. I don't know where. 2 orang lagi lain. Lain, 35 orang. Lapan. There's 10 lagi yang tak masuk. Mana yang lain? Bisa start je lah. Ini dah suka. Tak tahu. Tak pakai selang tak? Ini tahu. So let's start. There's 41 of you here. Okay, so the first question. Fundamental sources of a grade is from. You can answer. There's 85 seconds left. Another 22. There's 55 seconds left. Kita nak cari pakai sini. Oh, relax. Okay, 30 seconds left. One of you. There's the rest. So 20 seconds left. 19, 18. Lain tak tahu mana dia. The time's up. Let's take a look. So most of you, 24, answered 24 answered physical environment correct. Congratulations to these 24 people. Let's take a look at the 30 incorrect response. Ni semua betul. Just, who is just? What environment? Environment kan? Okay, memanglah kat sini tak tulis. This one memanglah there's only environment here, but actually it's social environment, political environment. Okay, that environment includes all. So what environment? And then I can I can korang dengar tak? Ke korang apa sampai?
Dengar.
Dengar? Jadi alam ni lah. Okay. Jadi yang lambat sikit. Answer question. Next one for play. Okay, so that's all for today's class. Don't forget to take your attendance. And then if you have any further questions regarding today's topic or maybe your assignment, you can just telegram me during office hour. Okay, if after office hour, I will reply the next day. Itu sahaja. Thank you everyone for coming to my class. Assalamualaikum. Have a good day.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, madam.
Waalaikumsalam.